Did you ever get in trouble with Vince?
Like real trouble?
I don't know,
Yeah, yeah. There's one story that still kind of rubs me the wrong way to this day. And back between, after 9/11, unfortunately, there was a war, and we started going to Afghanistan in the Middle East or Iraq, and it was supposed to be a volunteer trip. So I went. I actually wrestled Ric Flair in Afghanistan one particular trip, and again, I was right next to Vince. It was 3 groups of 6, and I'm like, man, I never said no. I took pride. I never say no. I'm the ultimate team player.
Yeah.
So I get married, and my wife is pregnant with our first child. And again, they said, hey, if you don't feel comfortable going, there's no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah.
But do you believe that? So they didn't believe it. I told them from the jump. I never said I was going. I said, nope. I show up the day, and they take your bags, and because it has to go through screening at the Pentagon or whatever. And they're like, where's your bag? And I was like, I told you, we thought you were kidding. I said, at what point did you ever think I was kidding? Did I ever laugh? Did I ever not look you in the eye and say, I'm not going? There's like, you've never told us no before.
Because my wife's pregnant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So they had to scramble at the last minute. You got to get passports. It's a whole big thing. I think it was actually Chris Masters that took my spot on that particular trip, if I remember correctly. But I should have known. I should have known that it wasn't just going to end there. So fast forward a week, and at that time I was out doing commentary, and the show ends, and The Undertaker ends the show, and he's getting ready to walk up the ramp, and the referee comes over, and he says, and the music's playing. He's like, go hit Taker from the back. Go hit Taker. I'm like, why would I do that? That makes no sense. They're like, Vince is telling. Oh, there it is. So he was angry that I told him no, and that I went against, God forbid you say no to anybody, especially Vince. And so, like the team player that I am, I go over, I attack The Undertaker. He turns around, apologizes to me, and says, I'm sorry, I don't want to do it, throws me in, proceeds to beat me up. And as he gets done, Batista's music hits. Down comes Batista. He does the same thing, gives me his 3 finishes. I was so irate. You know that few times in life where you get so angry you start to cry? Like it's just your emotions are just overwhelming. That was one of those moments. And I didn't sell. I mean, I just took like 5 finishes from the two of the biggest stars of all time.
Yeah.
I got up and walked to the back, completely disrespecting them. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I was thinking, how can I get beat up when for all these years I was completely loyal? But yeah, that was one of the times where I was so angry because I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it.
Do you think Vince is going to keep doing this? He says he wants to do it till he's 120.
We always used to joke on the road that he'll die on the road because you got to understand he's a very unique individual. And when you build something and it's your baby, you don't want to see it end. And I always knew he was going to come back or he'd figure out a way for it to come back because this is his legacy and this is what he wants. Now, do I think that maybe he'll regret a few things when it's all said and done? I think so.
I feel like he has no regrets.
I think he should. And what I mean by that is we all want to have friends around us. We all want to have our families around us. And we all want to do good. And as we get a little bit older, you should get a little bit wiser. And you should not be the idiots we were, 20 years ago. And we all did dumb things, including myself. But even if you're the boss, and this is something I used to say about Vince that I find very sad, is I pride myself on having friends that I can call and watch the game. Hey, big game Saturday night. You want to watch it? Yeah. He doesn't have anybody like that. He's never had anybody like that. And is he a football fan? Probably not. But I'm just saying, you understand my point.
Yeah.
Just to have somebody come over and break bread, have a drink, watch a game, do anything.
Yeah.
It was always based off of people like Pat Patterson was his best friend. We all loved Pat. But are you watching the game with Pat? You know what I mean? And so everything that is Vince's life is all pro wrestling. And I found that a little bit sad, despite all the money. I found that a little bit sad.
So you're saying he's the guy who only has work friends?
Correct.
We all know somebody like that.
100%. And what's sad is that as he's gotten older, I think he's 77 now. So I met him, like I said, on his 54th birthday. So I've known Vince for almost 25 years. And I do believe that if you put a lie detector on him, when it's all said and done, that he wishes maybe he would have made more friends or not, because he's very awkward to be around. You can't have a conversation, like a normal conversation, because you're so intimidated, whatever the word is, and a lot of people it's always that thing, hey, pal, is that instead of like a real conversation. So him and I had a lot of real conversations, but I was around him a lot and got through that initial wall.
Does he like do normal person things? Like, does he eat pizza?
I have no idea because he never hung out with anybody. And I know that he had during the day, just so you know, he would have, and it's one of my favorite people in the world, Harvey Whippleman, one of the famous managers. He's got Rocket's first car. His personal job was to make sure Vince was taken care of to this day. And so he would bring in the food, and then if superstars like The Rock wanted specific chicken or something, he would buy it for them too. And you'd see Bruno Bruno Lauer's name, walking through with all these steaks and potatoes. So Vince wouldn't even eat with the rest of us. It would all be in his office on the road every single week.
So he could keep working, I'm
100%.
sure.
100%. Yeah.
It's like he has no off switch.
Correct.